Happy New Year. Woo, 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 woo. Welcome back to a family business podcast.
That was nice.
We are welcoming you into the new year here. Last year, we did 2025 predictions. Go back a couple episodes, and we gave you our thoughts on that. After review, we did video review, and we realized that we didn't have the best structure. That's okay, right? You gotta fail to learn, right? So we've got a better structure here. I'm gonna walk you through how this is gonna work for 2026 predictions. Okay,
I love it.
So we're gonna play a game. If you're familiar with betting, this is gonna be kind of somewhat similar.
Is this gonna be over under?
Yes, correct. We're gonna have a bunch of options if you are thinking that this number is going to be higher or lower, essentially. Okay. And this is kind of off the national numbers of what we think the real estate market as a whole in the United States is going to go. We can get a little bit more granular on our market, but this is basically going to be the United States as a whole here, okay? All right.
Okay.
Average home price growth. Okay, so we're talking a percentage here. They are setting the line at 2%. So year over year, what is the average price of a home is, based on going into the next year? Last year, it was approximately 3% is what we saw, and they're kind of forecasting for about a 1 to 4 range. So it's pretty wide open. So the over-under is 2%. Do you think that the average home price is going to be higher than 2% average or lower?
Higher.
I'm going with higher too. I'm going with over.
And my reasoning, do we need to give reasoning?
Yeah, we can dive into that.
Okay. The reasoning is because I feel that rates will drop a little bit. Last year, I had a bigger goal of rates dropping a whole lot, and I don't know that they are going to in 2026. But I do think with the combination of rates dropping slightly and with a lot of people that have been in their homes coming up on that 7-year mark.
It's 10 years now.
Well, that's the average where they move, but a lot of people probably get the itch around 7 years, but have been staying in their homes because of the rates. Because they're dropping a little bit, I just think if we can get that into the upper fives on average, that's going to make the market move a little bit quicker. And I still think we're going to have an inventory problem. So that's why the price growth over 2%, you said?
Yes. So the line's at 2%.
Over.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you look at some of these crazy things we've talked about, our potable mortgages
Yep.
and our 100-year mortgage, which for some reason I do think a 100-year mortgage
Can we go back to the
50-year mortgage?
50.
Portable mortgage again, how that works. So if you buy a house for, I'm joking.
Oh, thank God. I thought we were going to have to watch more Hallmark Christmas movies too, Brad. Thank God those are done for a year. But I'm with you on that. I think that we're still going to have a supply issue. I think you have a lot of people that kind of like 2025, they just got sick of waiting. And, one of those 5 Ds, divorce, diapers, death, diploma. And what's the last? Diamond.
Diamond.
Yep.
Divorce,
that they, one of those are true and they have to move and they're just going to move because they need to move. And so I think that's going to create the demand regardless of what the rate does. And I think home prices are going to continue to go up. So I'm going with over.
There's a lot of things that take into consideration here, especially, and we'll talk about this multiple times through each prediction, but obviously real estate's local, right? Yeah. And each market is unique and different. You're going to see less growth in some of the larger markets probably. And in our smaller market, you might see more just because we still have an inventory issue, right? But as a whole, I think that 2% number is pretty low, just for natural inflation in general. You typically see around that 3%. So I think we're all going over based on kind of the simple notion that there's pent-up demand and there's not a lot of inventory, right? And we know, just simple economics, we know how that works. So Cool. All on the same page. Number 2 is mortgage rates. 2025, we were seeing anything between low to mid 6s. Okay. They're forecasting anywhere from 5.9 to 6.4%. Obviously you're going to have different options. And that's another reason why, just tell your buyers to shop the rate, see where they can get the best potential rate when they're looking to get a loan. Over underline here is 6.2%.
I'm going to say under. And the reason why is that we saw a few times this year, these drop down. I mean, there's been some of these lenders that are running specials in the upper 5s, but we're seeing them more in the low 6s now. So I think with the new Fed chair that'll be coming in here in April, May, that you're going to see the overall rate drop. And I think that's going to also spur more activity, and I believe the bond rate's going to go up, and I think the mortgage rates will in 2026 drop under 6.
I just think it's
especially
inevitable.
6.2.
I think it has to go under that 6.2. I think you're going to see hovering in those high fives. I mean, not much below that, but I definitely can see that 5.8, 5.9. So I'm going with under. And I also just think it's inevitable because the closer we draw to another election year, I just think that a lot of times things happen to just create less of a bottleneck in some of the things that have been pent up because people think it looks better for the election side of things. Whether that's true or not, I'm just saying what, people think. And so that's why I'm saying under.
6.2 is interesting. I feel,
It's not 6.7.
It's not 6.7. But this is the average, right? So, you're taking consideration multiple scopes of rates. But I'm actually going to go over, and here's why. There has been talk all year about everything being slashed, hatched with, cut down the tree as quick as possible. And it really just hasn't happened. I feel like just in general, we haven't seen the cuts that we've been technically promised over the tenor of especially my real estate career. So I'm going over. It could be 6.21 and I win, right? So that's what I'm banking on is to be in the low sixes again next year. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Which, by the way, people, that's not a bad rate.
Right, exactly. But here's the other thing. We've talked about it on podcasts before, too, is that I think people are starting to understand that that's a pretty darn good rate, right? And that's playing into some of our other predictions for this year.
Agree.
So a little bit of...
So PT's the only one that's we're going to either Brad and I are winning big or
There we go. Okay. Home sales next year, number of home sales. 2025, there was approximately 4.05 million sales. They're forecasting it to be within the range of 4.1 to 4.6. Over underline is set at 4.3 million home sales next year.
I'm going to go over barely. I do think it'll be in that range. I don't think it'll be over 4.6, but I do think it'll slightly tick up, going to our explanation of question number 1, which was the average home growth price is going up, and I believe that home sales will go up slightly as well.
Don't you love how serious we all are on this podcast today? Is this going to be the new norm for 2026?
Yeah, we're dead serious about everything.
We've got numbers in front of us, and we big stakes going into.
What are the big stakes? What are we betting? Did we decide on that?
Pride. I mean, that's a...
Come on. I want more than that.
What would you like?
I think if we win,
a case of wine.
Oh, I was just gonna say that a case of wine of your choice.
All right, that's fair.
But it has to be the biggest wins, and you and I are one.
Okay.
So it's PT against Brad and Andrea.
Okay,
that's all right.
Okay,
I'm up for
whoever
it.
Gets the most points.
We have a 66% chance of winning.
Sounds good to me. I'm up for it. Okay, over under 4.3 million.
And cocky.
Million sales.
What did you say, Brad? You said over, huh?
I said over.
Okay, I'm going to go over as well. I don't think it's going to get to 4.6, but I do think it's going to go over, and it has a lot to do with the next thing on our list of predictions, because I do feel like we're going to see a pretty significant exodus of unqualified, untrained agents that got into the business in the height of COVID, and they do not understand how to do business. And so they've really had a really tough, last 12 to 18 months. And so therefore, maybe some deals that could have happened didn't happen because the consumer just wasn't as prepared to make that. So I feel like you're going to have more qualified, knowledgeable realtors that are really honing in on their skills. And so they're going to represent buyers, and that's going to then help to educate the consumers, regardless of whether that interest rate is over or under. And the home price growth, I think they're going to educate the buyers and sellers into making the best decision for them, which in a lot of cases, I think is making a move. They just haven't done it because they haven't really understand the pros and cons. So I'm going over.
Okay.
I'm on the same page. I'm going over too. I believe that there's just too much pent-up demand that will be flooding the streets. People have been sitting on the fence for a long time, and we're just going to get back to normal with, like you said, people have to move. the Ds and so forth. But there's also people that have been waiting for a better rate. And, at some point you're going to have to understand and realize, which I think we've started to see, people understand that the rates that are out there right now are great. And I think they're becoming more educated too, right? Someone's probably reached out to a lender at some point. They've probably been good in telling them, hey, you've been talking for about a year and a half now. If this is really what you want to do, if you really need more room or so forth, you can always refinance at the end of the day too, right? So I think there's good conversation going on out there, and that's going to drive the home sales for next year up.
I would agree.
All right, on to what Andrew was hinting at, the number of agents associated in the National Association of Realtors. This year, we are sitting just around 1.5 million agents. That blows my mind. And the over-under line is actually 1.6 million members by the end of 2026.
I'm going under.
I'm going under, and I'm going to tell you, it's not even for the reason you think that it's for. I mean, I think you're definitely going to see a lot of realtors and agents leave the industry just because of how tough the last 12 to 18 months have been. But I think with all the things that have happened recently with NAR and all the changes and all the lawsuits and all of the above, I just feel that even though I don't think it's necessarily the right decision in the big picture, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are no longer going to be NAR members, not necessarily agents or realtors, but I think they're going to, and we're already seeing it now, right? Like in the quarter four of 2025, we're already seeing that. So I think you're going to see that happening more for that reason than if anything else.
I think you're going to have less NAR members, less real estate agents, whatever you want to call them, because the last couple of years have been historically low in transactions. And I expect 2026 to be one of the more historically low years in transactions.
Transaction per agent is what you're
per
saying.
agent. Right. I mean, it'll kind of tick up a little bit, but not a ton, like we had talked about. That I really think that they're just going to be at the point where they're like, I'm not selling any homes. There's no reason why I'm in the business anymore. So I really think those top agents, 2026 is
well, that's what I was going to say. I was
you.
going to like high five before we get to your thought, PT. I was going to high five that there'll be less agents. And I don't mean that in a way of I want agents to get out of the business, but I do want agents that aren't taking this like serious as a job and a career and educating themselves, that just got in it because they thought they could make some quick deals when the market was so crazy and all you had to do is stick a sign in the yard and it sold with 20 offers. So I am excited for the people that are in this industry, are in it. Like they're not bandwagon realtors, I guess is what I would say. They're in it because they really believe in what they do and how they help buyers and sellers. And if they're not, then they're going to go do something else.
Yep. Agree.
I'm kind of on the fence about this one for multiple reasons.
There's no on the fence here. It's either over or under, PT.
Well, I'll make a decision here, but let's just talk through the other side too. I would agree with that. There are people that get out of the business and need to go to something else, but do they ever, I feel that it's actually more common for people to hold on to their licensees. Now, are they paying their board dues and so forth? But I don't feel that the number that people are just exiting the business is as huge. You've got people that are semi-retired that hold on to their license and so forth, which could potentially hold the number up a little bit higher than what you would think.
But I will say here, this is actually adding members. There'll be more members
right
in the next year.
Which is surprising as well.
Yeah.
But NAR, also the National Association of Realtors, is expecting a 20% drop in membership, whether they're leaving the business or they're just leaving the association. I just think that number is too large to make up a deficit to be off on. So with that saying, I'm going under on the 1.62. It's a pretty high number, especially to expect increase in membership.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how. And I would still go under, but if they said they would have the same, I mean, I could see how that might be a toss-up.
I just realized I still have my Christmas lights on.
Wait. I'm confused. Hold on.
Yep.
So it is that there'll be less than 1.6 million members, right?
Yep.
I say under as well.
That's what you said.
Oh, sorry, I wrote it down wrong. So we all said under?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We're all under.
I was very confused there for a moment. Sorry.
I think if
too much champagne for New Year's.
If they're expecting 20% drop, it's such a large number.
Agree.
And those aren't just to be thrown out there. Okay, so that kind of concludes our over under. Now we're going to go into a couple different categories, which should solidify who's going to win at the end of the year, which will be great. We're not financial advisors, so don't take this as that we're providing financial advice. But what is going to be the best stock in real estate to hold for 2026? So who's going to outperform everyone else in 2026.
REAX.
Yep,
real.
REAX. And I'm not just saying that because we own it and we work for real. But I mean, when you look at our fintech package in 2025, the quarter four and all, like this has been, we joined Real and now it's been over 2.5 years. So we're in 2026. We joined in June of 2023. And all these things were in process then, and we kept hearing them in little bits and pieces. And then like 2025, really, I mean, between our buyer concierge AI service that's inside of it, between Real Wallet, between Real Capital, I mean, just all the thing that One Real Title, One Real Mortgages in almost every state now at this point.
Agent count, so forth.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like it's going to, and I guess I don't know what the performance is based to be, but I mean, obviously we'll know if it goes above what I don't know, those people who predict these things do. I just feel like that's definitely one of the stocks that's just going to kill it because we have more fintech than any other brokerage.
Well, and we see
we're only talking real estate stock, right, PT?
Yeah, correct. Okay. Yeah. We see the push not only in real estate, but just in across the board for data development, AI intelligence, which is artificial intelligence. But there's just a massive push for that. And that seems to be the forefront of Real's concern, right? That they want to be the best. And we see it every single time. There's new evolutions. It's working well. And there's always, we've talked about this multiple times. There's always a fear of what this is, but it's the reality is that, shoot, this is going to be how people are searching for homes and how people find realtors. And you have to get ahead of it. And I believe that they are. Also, I do believe we've seen a consistent rise in agent count. So we're all on the same page there. Real stock is going to outperform everybody.
I mean, you just got to give a shout out to Pritesh on that. And I mean, Tamir and I mean, basically the entire leadership team and executive team, like they just push each other to be better. And Pritesh is like something I've never seen before.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully this gives us some diversity here. Biggest winner and biggest losers of 2026. I have a feeling on how this is going to go.
I know what Andrea's answer is going to be.
Me too.
So the biggest winner of 2026, and you mean in the real estate industry, right?
Correct.
I would say realtors, real estate agents are going to be the biggest winners in 2026, and I think the biggest losers are going to be for sale by owners. In 2025, we've noticed a drastic decline in the for sale by owners. One, I really think with all the technology and all the advertising that the general public is realizing that it's not quite as easy to do this on your own, that if you have a realtor, they are able to get you into the more advanced marketing, the advanced technologies that actually net them more money. And like I had mentioned a long time ago, I do think the exclusive buyer agency agreements have changed the landscape as well, that you no longer have buyers that are running around buying for sale by owners that were working with realtors because they are in an exclusive buyer's agency agreement. And of course, every good realtor does show them the for sale by owners, but I really do think that's the reason why those have been going down, and I think they will continue to go down dramatically in 2026.
There we go. Biggest winner, biggest loser.
I'm going last.
Well, we know what you're already doing.
Why don't you go, PT?
Biggest winner. I'm going to say the biggest winner of next year is going to be the companies that are investing in AI and data research and so forth. I just said it. It is so important that we get ahead and go with the changes because this is what the new reality is going to be. And I can't even imagine when we sit down next year and go back over this and what we'll be talking about, how we're using artificial intelligence and how that is now incorporated into our systems and how people and consumers are using it. So that's going to be my winner is artificial intelligence. Loser, this is why I wanted you to first, but and this is not a shot at anybody. I promise you that, but it's the agents that are with Zillow. And I just hope that one, you've done your research because there's just more and more stuff come out every single day. And there's just, as 2026 unfolds, I'm sure there's going to be more things that come out. It's wild to see this unravel and the tone change too, which you can tell that it's getting serious. So my hope is that you don't be a loser in 2026 and make sure that you check your stuff with Zillow.
Yeah, so that's interesting, PT. So my biggest winner, and this is going to surprise you guys because I'm sure you don't see this one coming, but my biggest winner, I think, is going to be buyers agents that are fully embracing the buyer's agency agreement and what that stands for and what their role is as a buyer's agent and their value proposition as a buyer's agent. I think they're going to be the biggest winners. And I say that because I know that the national statistics shows that buyer's agent commission overall is up since the lawsuit in August, or what, not a lot, what do you call it? The
Settlement?
settlement.
Law
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. Law change in
Settlement, yeah.
August of 2024. But I can tell you that more and more often we're seeing, at least in our market, where buyer's agents are just willing to do whatever to get the deal done. And I don't think that is in the best interest of them or the consumer, because I mean, either you have a value prop or you don't have a value prop. I mean, every once in a while you do things crazy because you just need to, right? For that specific client and that specific situation, because sometimes things are weird. But the overall consensus of that, I don't think should be, because you should determine, and there's so many things going around about this right now, but you should know what you're worth and what you want to get paid before. I mean, it's like you don't walk into a store and be like, okay, I'll pay you $100 for that. And then or they'll say they want 100, and we don't barter here, right? Like, I don't know why as agents, sometimes we've decided that we're going to, I don't know. I don't understand that. So I think that's going to be the biggest winners, those that are fully embracing that. And I think that goes back to also having less agents in the industry, because I think the ones that are sticking around are the ones that do look at this as a business and they do see their value, and people that utilize them see their value, and that's fully transparent from the beginning. And there's no surprise to anybody here, but my biggest loser is going to be Zillow. Because I
Shocker.
mean, I can't remember, shortly before this podcast was recorded, there's a pod or a reel going around. I can't remember if Jared James did it or Ricky Kurt did it. One of them did it. Currently, right now, there is a big thing going on with Zillow that basically, which blows my mind, but it's going back to where the MLSs are making it optional to, like, saying, no, we're not going to put we're not going to give Zillow the access to the feeds. And this isn't just like 1, 2, 3 Z's, right? This is multiple people are doing this. And it's like, okay, if that happens, with everything else they have going on, we go back to the same, it's going to become optional. So it comes back to the world where you and I were, where our MLS didn't syndicate anymore. So then you could optionally choose as an agent to manually do your listings. But I mean, with everything else Zillow has going on, that's a total game changer. And I just think that I know this sounds crazy, but they will not be the player at the end of 2026 that they were at the beginning of 2025, right? I just think that things are changing and they will be the biggest loser. Those are my predictions.
There you go.
Those are all great.
A little bit of diversity there.
Those are all bold predictions. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, wild card prediction. So this could be your craziest prediction. This could be your biggest bet to win this bet that we have with the three of us. But what is the craziest thing that you think will happen in 2026?
Are we doing rock, paper, scissors, decide who goes first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Mine is going to be that at some point in 2026, specifically our MLS will be syndicating with ChatGPT. So that's what I'm looking at and what I'm predicting. You're seeing Zillow do that, which means that at some point, and I guess technically, that's how it is, but there will be an actual direct syndication between the MLS and ChatGPT or other artificial intelligence search engines.
Okay. I think come April, May, whenever the new Federal Reserve chairman is named, that we're going to see a drastic uptick in the economy. And it's not because, a lot of people like to bash on Jerome Powell. I don't necessarily blame him, other than I think we held on to rates too low for too long, and then we were forced to raise them too quickly, which hurt more in the long run. So I really think that this new federal chairman is going to come in, and he's going to, or she is going to, aggressively cut the rates, and we're going to have a superb second half of the year. And that's what's going to drive my earlier predictions of the raising home prices and the mortgage rates dropping. I think between January and May, up until that happens, that it's going to be business as usual. But I really think when the new chairperson gets named, that you're going to see the economy take off. And that's going to come right before the midterms too. So like Andrea said, they tend to loosen up things as we get closer to the midterms. Who is ever controlling the majority, which right now is the Republicans, and President Trump has been very clear that he wants rates lowered, and that is what is slowing down the economy. So I expect that to happen when the new chairperson is named, and I believe the second half of 2026, not just in real estate, but all over the board in the economy, is going to be excellent.
Okay, so mine's totally different from what you guys are talking about.
Which is good.
Right. But this is something that I actually learned about on a recent podcast, this particular lawsuit. And it's something I've been saying for a while was going to happen. But I feel like there is going to be an influx. And I mean, like, not just little, but an influx of lawsuits against either buyers that bought a home without an agent that they had an EBA signed with, or it's going to be brokerages suing the buyer or whatever for a commission when they bought it with someone else. And there is right now a case, and I don't think it's going to be from deals in 2026. I think it's going to be from 2024 and the early part of 2025, when all this stuff was still being, I guess, trained and learned, and a lot of people just didn't really care and just thought it was business as usual. I think there's going to be some antitrust in regards to that, and it's going to be a very big topic, and it should be, because people weren't doing things the right way. We've talked about this past, and that's unfortunate, but I just think that ruling that just happened, if you don't know about this, in Florida, where the brokerage sued a person who bought a house with someone else, an $800,000 house, and they were awarded $24,000 in commission. Do I think that was the right move? No. Do I know the whole story on what happened in that? No, because I don't think a broker should sue, but I mean, whatever. I don't know the whole situation. I just think that you're going to see more of that, because I think that's a lawsuit that's going to set the precedent. And there's a lot of people, I think, or brokerages that are pissed because those things happened and they just didn't know what was going on.
Well, and if that dam is broken open, it's going to be interesting to see how tough everything else is audited, right? How tough the brokerages are going to audit EBAs and files, and then it goes probably to the state and so forth. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah. A lot to look forward to in 2026.
Well, we're
That's
here.
very interesting.
Yeah, it is. So we'll obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but
we have a magic ball, though.
The great thing is that we do have people that are smarter than us that have some type of feel on what's going on. They know big numbers, and they have all the data in front of them, which is phenomenal. So we'll see at the end of the year what this looks like. I'm sure it'll be pretty competitive and fun when we do circle back around to this. But if you have thoughts on our predictions, let us know. Tell us they're terrible. Tell us they're good. Let us know your thoughts. And we're wishing you the best of 2026.
Well,
Happy New Year.
I'm not done. You people. I have one couple of things. I also want to just tell everybody that, like, look for a change in the way that we produce this in 2026. We're going to have some changes coming. And in addition to that, look for, we're definitely going to have more guests on our pods in 2026. So if you don't already like and follow us, you should, because you don't want to miss some of the fun stuff that we have coming for 2026.
We're moving to Netflix if you were really curious.
Didn't you see Instagram is going to be on TV now? Did you see Katie Days and that reel about that? You can get Instagram TV.
Okay, I changed something. I want my biggest winner of 2026 to be Ryan Serhant. I don't know if you've watched his Netflix show. There's this huge stigma around real estate TV, right? It's you've got the babysitter and the whatever, and they're buying a $900,000 house, right? But this year has been very realistic, in my opinion. It showed his struggles. It showed the real stuff that everyone's experiencing, right? The haters, his family life, his daughter, right? And I think that's going to be huge for Serhant in general. A massive platform like that will be, right? But when someone shows vulnerability, and we always talk about genuine and so forth, I think he might be the biggest winner in 2026.
All right, we've noted that change, PT.
All right.
With that, Happy New Year.
Peace.
Happy New Year and peace.
Peace.